Hello everyone, today is May 18th and I feel it's time for a greenhouse update. It's been probably close to a month since you guys were in here last with me, and things have just been busy, so I haven't had time to make videos. But anyway, I'll give you a quick tour. There is a lot growing in here. Not as much as there will be in about 3 weeks, but I'll show you what I have. Alright, so as you enter the greenhouse, it may look a little different. Got the majority of my weed barrier down. All my raised beds along the left hand side are complete. They're 30-inch wide by 80 feet long. As you see, there's lots of different things, so I'll run down what I have. This first box here, these are all radishes. It's an Easter egg mix which has purple, pink, red, white, and then the back two rows are, they're called fingerling type of radishes. They get or a French type, if you will. They get a long white type fruit on the bottom. The bed here, it only looks like there's half done, which is true. There used to be these beans. I planted 4 rows of beans here early in the season, and they came up very sporadically, and the weeds just took over in this bed for some reason. So the other day I dug all my beans out. One thing I never really do, I've never done, and I don't really like doing it, is digging out and transplanting bush beans. You know, those are, you plant them and forget them type of plant. But for the sake of this bed, what used to be in the whole bed is now in about 40% of that. I also have a couple of daffodils coming up here I planted as well from bulbs that I had from last year. So anyway, these are bush beans. They all seem to made it through the transplanting. They all seem to be doing quite well, actually, and with this warm weather they're really going to start taking off. The second set here, I actually planted more radishes. I did these yesterday, so obviously there's nothing coming up here yet. And then this big one here, this has all lettuce in it. This is black-seeded Simpson lettuce, again with some daffodils. The weeds are starting to take over a bit, but lettuce like this is hard to weed because then you end up pulling out the lettuce plant itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it, and when I harvest the lettuce, pick out the weeds, and then there you go. But again, that came out fairly well on this side, and then it was a little patchy down here. I'm not exactly sure why. At the end of the bed here, I have some Swiss chard. I had this actually growing in the house. But as you can see, this is a kaleidoscope mix. It has your red, it has white, orange, and yellow. You can see some orange over there, red here, yellow there. And it's actually growing quite well since transplanting. And again, more daffodils. In this section of this bed, I have mustard green. These are mustard greens that I grew in the house, in the basement. I planted them out here. This is a variety called Southern Giant Curled. And this is my hand against this leaf. This is probably 14 inches tall. This is easy to be picked right about now, but since I'm going to sell for the market, I'm going to leave it until next week, which is when the market starts. And I've been tasting it. It still tastes very peppery. It hasn't gotten bitter due to the heat inside, because the greenhouse at night is still getting down into the 40s, single-digit Celsius. Now over here I had some space left over, so I planted actually some, this is Mizuna, an Asian type of spicy green. It has the serrated leaves, as you can see there. There's actually 4 rows. This row, as you can see, is getting shaded out. When I planted this row back on the 1st of May, today is the 17th, I think, or 18th. So 2 weeks ago, these mustard greens weren't even close to this row. But as you can see, now they're getting shaded out. Oh well. And here I have, these are the pak choys that I actually had started in the house. Some of them look really, I left a couple of them as doubles because I didn't know how they would grow in here, so I wanted to have 2 plants instead of 1. But looking back at it, next time I have these transplanted, which I have more in the house, I will be bringing out in the next few weeks to transplant, I'll be doing single plants. This monster here, I'm not sure if you can even buy one this big in the store, meaning with these leaves. Like, look at the size of these leaves compared to my hand here. I mean, this leaf is probably 10 inches across. That one's probably even bigger. If you hear any noise, it's the condensation flapping off the inside of the roof because of the wind. Okay, here I have my broccoli and cauliflower. They're doing quite well. They always lean over or fall over like in the morning, and then by the afternoon they're all upright. They're not starting to head up or anything. Again, these are a cool weather crop. They shouldn't really be in this type of year, but I didn't get them out here early enough because I didn't know I was doing the market until too late to start these earlier, if that makes any sense. But for next year, I'll definitely have these planted out here probably at the end of April. beginning of April. And then here I just have some space left, so I put another row of lettuce. The rest of this bed here, which is a quite large bed, this is probably about 10 feet, again by 30 inches, I have 4 more rows of lettuce. Lettuce grows really fast, but it's such a pain in the butt to harvest, so as soon as my other crops outdoors and even inside here are growing, I'm going to probably do away with the lettuce. It's just too much of a hassle. And this small section of this bed, I know there's a lot of little thread weeds, ignore them. This is actually garlic. This is garlic that I actually had growing last year that I never harvested outside because it never really did anything. I tilled it under, and at the end of the greenhouse, actually, I've been finding clumps of it, big clumps of garlic cloves that actually grew into the whole garlic. So I broke it apart and planted it. We'll see what happens. Then the next section here is just more of the cauliflower and the broccoli that I had left over from planting in the other bed. And then in through here, there's not much growing yet, but I have some onions planted here. I have some, this is kind of like a trial bed of things that people sent me. My garden friend from California sent me some corn, pink popcorn, and then there's another type of corn here. I'm not sure what the variety is. And then here I have some beets planted, and I have these are a variety of pea called feisty pea. None of this is up yet. These have only been planted here a few days ago. And in this long bed here, I have, this is a bed that is 16 feet long. In this first section, I have kale, which again is just starting to come up. You can probably see. The second section, I have more mustard green, which you can easily tell those. And then the last section here, I have some spinach, which they're not coming up quite yet. They're starting to here and there. So basically, this is looking at it from the other end. I'll now go over my seedlings that I have started. Alrighty. So here are the seedlings that these seedlings, all but this first tray, ooh, it's raining in here, all but that first tray here, I started out here. And as you can see, some of it, nothing's coming up because I actually seeded a lot yesterday, but the stuff that is coming up, I got trays here of cantaloupe and watermelon. The next tray here, these are actually 100% germination. These are straight 8 cucumbers. I never grew straight 8s before, but I hear good things about them. Then I have some gourds planted. I have some summer squash, some patty pan squash, which are just starting to come up. In the next top one here, I have pumpkins. These are large scale pumpkins, and I have some Big Macs giant pumpkins, which they're not up quite yet. The one down here, I have some crookneck squash, or excuse me, crookneck pumpkins, some more patty pan squash. This one down here, I have another planting of diva cucumbers, as well as baby Pam pie pumpkins. And the one over here, I have large sized pumpkins. The one up here, I have some spaghetti squash, I have a section of gourds, and I have some sunflowers actually. The next one over here, I have a tray of okra. I'm going to try to grow the okra inside the greenhouse here, so whenever these are ready to be transplanted, I'll have to find space in one of these beds. It'll probably be where some of the lettuce is once I pick it. And then next to that, I have some Waltham butternut squash, which again is just starting to come up. And then I have actually some more diva cucumbers. These were planted about a week or so prior to these, which these were just planted yesterday, seeded. So I'll have a good I'm trying to think what the word is, succession of cucumbers. The divas, I believe that the term is parthenocarpic, so meaning they don't need pollination necessarily to grow, so they'll be my indoor greenhouse cucumbers. And here I have just a tray of some Hosey Min mustard green. Over here, these boxes here, these are actually all hops for growing beer. They're just in here, they're overwintered. We got the rhizomes, I got the rhizomes in, I believe, the end of March, early April, and they're planted in here to get them a good start. These are actually going outside onto my hop trellis. These are actually for my brother-in-law. He's a brewmaster, and he wants to grow some hops here to make beer. I will be having another series on hops itself. I'm not an expert, but they're grown just like anything else. You give them sun and water, something to grow on, and there you go. As you can see, this one here is ready to get out. This thing is probably around 3 feet long already. And then lastly, inside these bags are my cucumbers. I thought I lost a lot of these when we had some cool weather a few weeks ago, but as you can see, some of them look like they're probably done. But then here's 2 of them right here, and this is the 3rd one in the bottom. These are doing really well. So in the next couple weeks, these will be placed in their final location along here. I mean, I have my lines from the weed barrier, so I'll use that as a guide, and I'll be stringing these up to the ceiling of the greenhouse. So overall, this is what I have, and stay tuned for more. Things will be growing here quite well in the next couple weeks. Thanks for watching.